Hey there, New Day Blessings. I'm Denise Ann Sumbry, your host, and this is the Maven Podcast. I'm excited to introduce my next guest. He is a graphic designer, music producer, a master audio engineer, creative consultant, and one of Cleveland's most sought-after DJ, who's heavily involved in the local community, hosting shows and events. Born and raised in Willoughby, Ohio, he has a passion for all things creative and a desire to help others express themselves through the power of audio, art, and design. At 29 years old, he is CEO of his own audio and visual communications company, Trey Smith Communication, runs a full-time creative agency called MC Escher Creative Studios, and creative apparel store, The Smith Shop. He has collaborated with some of the biggest names in the music industry, such as Jack Harlow, Taylor Gang, Pamela Anderson, and Def Jam Records. He has done projects with Red Bull, Live Nation, House of Blues, iHeartRadio, the NFL Hall of Fame, Barstool Cleveland, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Since releasing music in late 2009, he has garnered over 4 million streams organically before any national press support. His creative work has landed him with numerous notable and credible publications, including Cleveland Plain Dealer, Cleveland Scene, MTV, Pitchfork, The Fader, Double XL Magazine, and his biggest press campaign and visually designed artwork with Atlanta, Georgia-based creative OG Mako. His inspirational work is deeply rooted in Midwestern and millennial upbringing, challenging the conventional interpretation of pop culture's symbols and ideas with positive outcomes with good intention. I am delighted to welcome the one, the only, Trey Smith. Welcome to the Maven Podcast.
What's up, Denise? How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm blessed to be here. That was actually a really epic intro. I kind of was like, dang, I did all that. Okay, sweet. Yeah, life is good.
Yes, it is. It really is. And I am just honored that you said yes.
Of course.
And was open to being here. And it's so interesting because you and I and my family, we go way back.
Very, 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 like way back in a good way. That's why I was like, of course, come on, like what? Like I'm like honored to go on, you know?
Yes.
Support you.
Going way back, like when I think about it, you were a teenager when I first met you. Super young. I think I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And I had Chad.
Yeah.
So I think there may be like a 6-year, 7-year difference, age difference.
Try to think, when did I move to Bishop Park? I moved to Bishop Park in 2006.
Wow.
So I think that was before I like had a double-digit birthday.
Yeah.
Which is like really dope. I love it over there.
I know. Good old stomping ground.
That was good times. I did a lot of skateboarding on the street there, which is fun. I still have a skateboard at the house.
I would not think any less of that. Now, do you still ride it?
Oh, yeah. Do tricks and everything. I was at like the Lakewood skate park. Lakewood, they're about to actually expand the Lakewood skate park. Like they just I think they did like a huge renovation they're about to be doing that's going to be done in the spring. And I'm always like talking to people in the skating industry. Yeah. Like there are a lot of people in Willoughby that were like very like renowned in like the skating industry and like went to California and like worked with like really big skateboarders. So like shout out Bishop Park. That's so random.
I know it is very random.
I'm blessed to be like have time together. That's good times.
Likewise. And just even the reconnection over decade later, and then to be reconnecting is such just how life has evolved for both of us.
Absolutely. I think that that's super important, you know, like just staying dialed in and present with like the people like you came up with, regardless of like, you know, where everybody's at in life. Like we need to have like more of that in the world, especially in like America. Like we need more of like people just like, hey, I'm doing something. Oh, sweet, cool. Like I have like some free time, you know, like that's definitely super important, especially in like creativity and art and business and like all that stuff.
Yeah. Speaking, can you share a little bit more about your introduction to the world of creative arts, and was there a particular moment or experience that ignited that for you?
Absolutely. You know, music is really, really awesome. I feel like music is like my first love, and like just like discipline and just learning about like the artist journey is like a lot of us, we talk about like the hero's journey, but there's also like the artist journey, which is like constant reinvention of oneself and like a lot of stuff. But I feel like me starting out, I was, you know, I had a really good drum teacher. His name was Mr. Michaels. He was in Edison Elementary, and now he actually is, I don't know if he's still a teacher, but he teaches at Arrowhead Music in Mentor, Ohio. And what's crazy is when I was coming up, I loved playing the snare drum all the time, but like I never really could be in band. Like we already are in like a nice neighborhood. Like us just having the education alone was a blessing. So like band and Kevlar snare drums and like, what, this isn't drumline, like go over there, like, or something like. But my teacher was like, hey, you really do enjoy this. Here, take this instrument home and just borrow it. You don't even need to pay for it. Just borrow it because you know you're using it a lot. And that'll probably be something good for you to do on the weekend. You probably got like a lot of energy making music. So he like gave me a drum, and like I learned how to play drums over a weekend. And he was a really, really good mentor of mine. And and you know, he actually is like a really nice, positive dude like me. That's like where I get like a lot of my positive energy from. So like he helped me a lot to like discover like music instruments and like wanting to be like a formal musician. But then what's crazy is like this happens again in art and design when I go to college. Like I meet my professor of graphic design. Her name is Amy Copeland. She's like at Lakeland Community College. And I was there, and she showed me this documentary. It's called Art and Copy, and it pretty much like was a documentary about how like some of like the biggest like advertising campaigns were made, like MTV, how they launched MTV, and like Tommy Hilfiger. And I'm trying to think what else, like I Love New York, and like a bunch of these like really big things. And that made me find my other mentor, which is George Lois. And he actually just recently passed away this year, but like he did, again, all those campaigns in like graphic design. He also did all the Esquire magazines. So he did like Muhammad Ali's Esquire campaign magazine, like super renowned in like art and design. So those two things really like, I think were like catalysts for me to kind of start discovering creativity and kind of really being like, oh, like this is kind of interesting. Like this could be the beginning of something that's important to me.
Absolutely. And what it sounds like too, that especially with your drum teacher,
yes,
like he saw it and like he recognized
for sure
your love and your interest in the drumming. And then for him to say, you know what, take this home and practice it and planting that seed.
So selfless. Yes. That's such a very like selfless thing. And like that also, like I tell this story because like at any time, like that could be somebody in the public though. Like, especially like now that I guess I could say when I'm older, but even when you're younger, like there could be people that just be like, hey, I'm about to like, I think I'm about to start making shoes every day. And like about to start learning how to do fashion and textiles and like how to do material. And someone will be like, yeah, that'd be really, really cool and interesting. And some people will go on and do it for like 2 decades. Yes. Then like we all come back together like, see, like I did this thing. This is like this new thing I have that's like created, you know, and that's positive. That's always very positive for the world.
And I think that's so important because we don't always see it within ourselves, right? And to have someone outside of ourselves be a guide, or what I like to say, an igniter in that regard, or even just the support.
Yeah.
If I personally have an idea or a creative spark and I'm moving forward with it, right? Having your family, your friends, or those trusted resources to be like, yeah, go ahead. I can totally dig it. I can totally feel it.
Absolutely.
And that supportive energy to fan the flames of that.
For sure. I read this book. I read a lot of books, like a disgusting amount of books. But what's crazy is I read this book. It was called Steal Like an Artist, 10 Things They Never Told You About Being Creative. And one crazy trick in that book that they put in was you got to wonder about something, and then you have to invite other people to wonder with you about something. And that is so true, especially with like art and music and just like making stuff and creating stuff. it's like it's always going to be a collaborative effort. You know, we're always going to be like in the ecosystem, regardless of like if we're on the top or the bottom. There's still going to be like an ecosystem that has like a result of all of us having a individual effort and then like a continued effort of all of us together at once too.
I love that. And that's a great transition, because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about in your Instagram
Yes.
bio, which your Instagram is Trey Smithers.
Yes, at Trey Smithers.
At Trey Smithers.
Without the Y.
Okay. And it will, I'll link it in the show notes as well.
Fire.
But you specifically state, I build relationships, not just art. Can you share more about what that means to you?
Absolutely. I love that you like bring that up, because, you know, I think that, you know, when I was like coming up in music early on, everything was really transactional. Everyone had to pay to play. Like everybody had to like have something to like that really ultimately didn't really sustain transactionally. And I realized that, you know, the more that I like started going to places like Los Angeles or New York or like Miami or, you know, somewhere other, I realized that it doesn't really matter what resources you have or how much money you have or you connected to. You got to have like real personal relationships with people that like impact you in a authentic and organic way. So I just feel like after a while of me just kind of like because even my two, right, we were talking about the ecosystem, it's kind of like also like, while I can say like there are people that are like this, like I'm also in the ecosystem. So I was kind of like that. And I just realized that you got to like be able to give value to people before you ask them for something.
Yes.
It's not like the other way around. And like the only way to do that is to foster like a real relationship with them, whether that's, you know, we sit and listen to music and be like, this is awesome, or we talk about a business idea. But ultimately, it's more than just the service. You know, it's about helping people, not selling to people. So
I love that. And you brought up a very good point. How do you...
That was good.
That was bars.
That was fire. Cut that into a short form content. Win, yes.
I love that.
For sure.
And you touched on transactional.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard concept for people to navigate when they're not used to being in such supportive and nurturing environments.
Absolutely.
Like everything is, and also just in the world of capitalism, everything is a transaction.
For sure.
How do you decipher between something being transactional and a true, like, authentic connection and relationship, especially in your creative work and in business?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's again another like really amazing question. I think that, you know, we were talking like a month ago and we were talking about passports.
Yes.
And what's funny is I talked to a lot of people outside of the US, a lot of people from London, a lot of people from Africa and Sweden and Germany and Ibiza. And I had a friend of mine, and I think we actually talked about this. I had a friend of mine, and he's from Europe. Like he made the song Amethyst. And my boy Isaac, I love him forever, because me and him talk a lot about, you know, we live in like the Western hemisphere. So like capitalism is almost sometimes more important to us than like the quality of our lives. But they're over there, like the quality of their life is the most important thing, being able to like be with their family, being able to like have time to like relax, being able to not have like their job be the driving part of their life.
Yes.
And I feel like I let that be a driving part of my life for such a long time that it made me realize that, you know, we only have today, and we only really have like how we can help people. Truly, if we really break it down, like after everything's gone, like after this hat's no longer fresh, or like you know, the music equipment we don't use anymore, whatever, like there'll be people that'll be like, dang, like that person really like helped me in this lifetime, or they like, or they just help themselves. I just watched them help themselves. And like that's like an inspiring thing. So I think it's just about us thinking about the bigger picture, and also like how blessed we are too. You know, like we live in America, we live in the United States, and I know it's easy with everything that's going on for us to feel like our gratitude's been robbed from us, but like we can't really be in that space. We have to like put our gratitude in front of everything because, you know, how other people are living is extremely drastically different. Yes. And there's a lot of stuff where we can just like be proactive about and change a lot. So it's just about like just showing that gratitude and staying curious to how other people are living.
That part.
For
yes.
real.
Yes.
You know, see how people in Texas are living, see how people in Vermont are living, see how people in Arizona, and maybe not even going there, see how people in Argentina are living. You know, Brazilians are like really, really, really good musicians. Yes. Like they are like a different level of musicians, you know, like, and I like learn that. Just again, just like being curious about music. I'm like, I don't really be hearing Brazilian music. Like, why don't I hear more Brazilian music in the US? You know, then I realized, oh wait, like Brazilian music is like played all over the West Coast. I'm just in the Midwestern region. We're more into like rock and roll and like funk and like
right.
and rap and hip hop and like stuff like that. So like there's always something for someone and yourself. So you just got to be genuine to you.
I love that. I love that. Speaking of music, can you share a little bit more about your music journey and what type of music that you create?
Absolutely. I love all kinds of different kinds of music, like from like I've made classical music, I've made hip hop, I've made pop music, I've made house music, dance music, I've made instrumental music, I've made so much. I made conceptual albums with people. I've made full instrumental albums, you know.
I love instrumentals.
I like it. It's like good. Some people really, again, it's like I actually went to Denver, Colorado to go see an instrumental artist. Well, he's mostly like a producer. K Trinata, he's really amazing. Just did an amazing tour. Just did a great song with Childish Gambino and a bunch of other people. And so I like, again, I'm just into like not being super crazy definitive. I'm like very multidisciplinary. So I like staying open to all kinds. Like I will make a song for Madonna the same way like I would make a song for like Drake or like Ian or Lil Yachty or someone like. So that's like I'm like super into that. I think we need to be like like diverse for sure.
How do you honor your multifacetedness?
Wow. That's again, these are all good questions. You're a great interviewer.
Thank you.
I'd be like, I really love when people ask me good questions.
Yes.
There's good questions and bad questions, I guess, but like, it's great to like, I love that question.
I'm vibing off of you. Like the energy is just so beautiful.
For sure.
So like to be connected in this space, it's like, oh, and then also keeping the listeners and audience in mind. It's like, It's like this trifecta of energy that's flowing. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's tap into that.
No, 100%, 100%. So it's crazy. You say, how do I honor my multidisciplinary element? You know, we were talking about Virgil Abloh. Yes. Virgil Abloh, RIP to Virgil Abloh. He's like a really, really great creative person. And I feel like I honor him. I honor a lot of his processes because he's very multidisciplinary. Most people, you know, if we think about like Midwest, like we get like one job somewhere in one position in music or design and be blessed for the rest of our lives. And so we don't really see somebody that's like, let's go work at Nike and also go work at Live Nation and also go do an activation with a small business and go like DJ somewhere in Tokyo. I feel like that's like kind of what like younger people are already doing.
Yes.
They're already kind of in that space where they can just do anything. They don't really have to be like, before it was like, you know, like I needed the Neptunes. Like I needed to like be on the radio. I had to be in Rap City. Like I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. Now it's like, if I want to go design a club somewhere, I can, and like probably meet the architects and like learn about architecture and like just go on this like lifelong thing and make money from it and do all kinds of stuff. So I just think I like honor my disciplinary art practice by performing in it, showing up in it, but also like really staying open to like really great projects that are like, you would just be unconventional. Like we did trying to think of like unconventional projects I've done. Like we just did like at the intro, you know, with Cleveland Vibes and Sun Cruiser, like doing like activations like that, like, and seeing real turnout with people, like that's really, really awesome. But again, just like coming together with brands and saying, hey, even though like we are independent and we own our brands, like there's still a commercial officialness to the work that we do, regardless of like us being inside the corporate system.
Right, that part. And what I love, you know, with your own personal intention as it relates to building relationships, right?
Yeah.
Just witnessing you even most recently, I know that partnerships and collaborations are huge in this world of art. And can you say more of what role collaboration plays in your endeavors and how that even deepens, those collaborations deepen your relationship with your art?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's again awesome. And I think that when I think of like partnerships and collaborations, I feel like now, you know, we're in this space where we, you know, before we would just like need to get our name out and we would need to like get a platform and we need to like build. And I've realized that I actually need to like do a great service to somebody, and I actually need to be of like value and help somebody. And the real reality is like every brand isn't going to help me do that. No matter how big I get, no matter how much money I have, no matter how many resourcing I have, every single company and brand isn't going to be able to accommodate that. So me being realistic about my expectations, it comes to the point where it's like I got to partner with the right people for the right reasons at the end of the day. If I want to have like a sustainable business and like relationship building, right? It's like we got to be able to be like, hey, we're not going to like say one thing bad about somebody and then like work with them in like 3 days and then act like we didn't, you know?
Right.
We can't be doing that. We got to be like, hey, I've known you forever. We've had a great relationship. We've built together. You've seen me from like 0 to 100. So we should like all come together now that each of us are at 100 and start building the right way, you know? And so partnerships are like everything to me. Like all I've been thinking about this year has been, what are the right companies can I partner that I have a steady line of not only like book of business, but just resourcing in general. It's like, how can I activate this person? How can we bring these two people together? How can we delegate, get better at delegating, but then also get good at coaching and also get good at us being able to say, hey, these are two people that just make sense.
Yes.
Instead of like, well, I want to introduce you to this person, but like, I don't really know how y'all can work together. Or like, people don't always want to network or make a business or build stuff being like, all right, like, I don't want to risk this connection with this person or this, that. And it shouldn't always have to be like that. It should just be like, hey, you do a podcast. Hey, like he does DJ. All right, sweet. That's a brand that makes sense. Cool, like sweet.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That was great.
Awesome.
And you said so much in that.
For sure.
That was loaded right there.
Very much loaded. A lot. It was a good gym. I hope like people watch this and like get something good out of it and something valuable. And
yes. And yes, I'm glad you said that, because with the collaboration piece, being open to working with others while also being in your true authentic self.
Yes.
Right.
The real win.
Right. And it's like a gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Because not only are you showing up and bringing your gifts to the dynamic, but then we're also learning from others, right? And so 100%. It just expands the growth and the development, and then it does expand the ecosystem and the network.
For
and
sure.
Brings in more opportunities. And it's just, like I said, it's just a gift that keeps on giving.
Super, super positive and extremely positive.
And, I listened to another podcast that you were on, and one of the things that you...
Which one was it?
Oh,
do you know? It's okay if you don't know off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head.
It wasn't like crazy branding or like anything.
No, it was definitely in the music realm, and it was two gentlemen. It was like a yellow background.
Oh, okay, yeah. You were doing, yeah. We did the. It was the stir fry.
Oh yes, it was
stir fry. Shout out to Will.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to Ty Chode. You know, Ty Chode, he actually won an Emmy. Actually, congratulations. He won a couple. He recently moved to Texas. He's a really good friend of mine. I still love Ty a bunch. And also Will, the space kid, he's also awesome. He lives in Los Angeles right now, and he actually just like sent me a text message, and it was just like a really good, like, he always sends me some new music or something. And like yesterday, he like sent me a text message, and he was like, "Black people are amazing," and it was just like this amazing song, and I just was like, Black people really are magic. I love them so much. And it was just great. It was just so random. So I love that you say the stir fry. Like, shout out to
stir fry. Yes. And it was a great interview. I love the dynamic. And
a lot of growth since then.
You mentioned in there that this has been an innate gift for you.
For sure.
Right?
Absolutely. The
world of art, music, is that something, like, when was there a defining moment for you where you made that connection, like, oh, I'm gifted in this realm?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think, when was it? It could be a couple of moments. I think it also was like with people. I think a lot of people kind of remind me, like, yo, like, people don't just like pick up instruments and like can just play them, you know? And I'm trying to think of a specific, like, definitive moment of that when I was like, oh.
Or did you just like, did you feel like you just knew? Like,
I think I knew because I always felt, you know, this is like very deep, but like I always felt God when I was creating something, you know.
And what did that feel?
It feels really good because like in music, I think that like we all relate to music. We all listen to music every day, and we kind of like take it for granted because we just have access to it every day. So it's like, it's crazy when like you can like be listening to something by yourself. People don't even know how you be feeling. They don't know, like, they're not even aware of what's going on. They don't even see your reaction to it. And then you listen to it with somebody else and y'all have the same reaction. I think that that's like a very powerful thing. So for me to like be connected to like every song like that is a very, very fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional type thing, you know? So I'm very, very blessed for that. And also, you know, there was always, you know, positive energy around me whenever I would be doing music. So I think that that's like a signal that like the universe is looking out for you a little bit when some positive stuff start happening, or
the synchronicities start unfolding,
for
the connection starts showing up.
Start seeing 111 everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Numerology and everything. Oh my gosh. Like, I've been seeing those so much this year.
Yeah. Bless it.
Yeah.
Now, speaking with creativity, are there moments that you ever feel stuck or have creative blocks, and what helps you get back into the creative flow?
I used to have creative blocks all the time, but they went away. They went away and I never deal with them anymore.
Wow.
Ever. I never really am like, gotta make this be. What's going on? Do you know the reason why I had creative blocks?
Tell me.
Because I didn't practice. When you practice, you got to be able to practice. You got to be able to, you know, there's people that are on the piano, even if they don't know how to make Sunday morning every day, they can still play their scales every day. And once I learned how to like practice really well, I stopped like overthinking the process of, I need to make this every day. Like, I have to be this every day. This has to be this. Like, I've realized I can just be like, some days I'll be like, I'm not feeling good. Like, I'm kind of sad today, but then I'll make a song about it. And then I'll feel a little bit better about it, you know? Or I'll be like, I'm trying to think what my blockage isn't always like creative more than they're just like the other things that aren't creative. That's where a lot of my blocks come from. If I'm like, not like small thing, right? If I'm like at the crib and like I know I want to make fire music or do a fire project or get some money, whatever it is, can't really do that if the house is like in disarray.
Facts.
It's small, it's light, but it makes like the biggest difference. So I just feel like again, like training your spot to be able to like feel comfortable practicing, like one thing I used to do, I learned from Jay Dilla actually, is he would make a bunch of beats and then delete them afterwards. He'd make like the craziest beat, like Questlove and him would be in Detroit with Common, and they would just be like on like a normal winter day, like whatever, just studio work on the normal day to day, and like he'll just make the most craziest beat ever, and he's like, that is the craziest beat ever. He's like, yeah, I deleted it. Like,
there's like an element of like not being attached to it.
He's like, what are you doing? Questlove is like, what are you doing, bro? But he's like, you know, Jay Dilla understood practice. So he understood that like, okay, if I could tune into it before, I could probably tune into it again if I know like the right conditions. So like that like made me like super inspired because we in the computer world. So it's like, we got unlimited space for anything. So like being able to be in the computer world and make something and be like, all right, like whatever, and delete it is very powerful, very liberating.
That's very liberating.
Very, very liberating.
I can see how that just, again, like not having any worry or attachment to it because it's always going to come back.
Yeah.
Because it's so pure.
For sure.
Connected.
For sure. And a lot of times those blocks in creativity aren't really, again, they're not really creative. Sometimes they're personal, or sometimes they're like, sometimes it's like, you know, you may not have healed from a situation. It may not be necessarily as direct as like, man, I can't like figure out these guitar chords or like play this piano or sing a song. Like, and that's where it's like, you know, again, like I talk about like my blocks, like I've had to do like a lot of like really good healing and like a lot of like hard work that like a lot of people don't see, which is like part of like the creative process. Like that's a part of it, being able to like learn from things, but not, and also be gracious with yourself, but also be around the right support system and know the right amount of like history and people to know how to take care of yourself. That's like really important.
You said something so potent, and I just have to repeat this just to make sure that the people understand it. Okay. You said that it's really not creative blocks.
Yeah.
Let's pause there. Because even folks who may be new to tapping into their creativity,
Yes.
or maybe they're intermediate, novice to intermediate.
For sure.
Just on the scale.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. I've even said it, where it's like, oh, I'm having a creative block. It's like a language that we use.
Yes.
And in this conversation, it has clicked that is really just a unconscious or almost like a subconscious belief that's not true.
It's like a defense mechanism.
It's a crutch.
Yeah.
Or can be a crutch.
For sure.
And there's a deeper meaning to it.
Yes.
Meaning that so what I'm hearing you say is, you know, it's not a creative block because it's something else that's going on either internally or externally that's blocking the flow of the creativity to come in, through, and out.
Yeah.
Am I correct in what I'm hearing you say?
That is so on point. And, you know, in downtown Willoughby, they have, my bad, I accidentally blocked the mic, but in downtown Willoughby, they have the Beatles anthology at Dave's Cosmic Subs. And the Beatles, again, are another great example about this. Huge on history. Love my history. Always like researching my history. Like I was listening to Cold Sweat by James Brown yesterday. It was still amazing. Sounds really good. But the Beatles, what's crazy is the Beatles, when they were being a space where they couldn't get a take done, like they weren't about to be like, all right, you got to get this take. They were like, all right, just go home and like, we'll see you tomorrow. And like a lot of people don't realize like the power in that. Like even me, like if I go to the studio, even though it doesn't really happen often where I go to the studio and I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. Like I'll go back tomorrow because I practice. So I'm not going to like beat the dead horse. Like I'm going to just like change the energy. Yes. Right. Yes. It's like, and that's like really, I think how I changed from like being like just getting paid for my time and then getting paid for my value, because I started learning how, dang, there's like a real art to somebody being able to like manage an artist in the studio. You know, but that means I got to practice. Yes. You know, we all got to practice that thing. Like we all have a thing that we know we're committed to, and we may not always commit to it.
I want you to share a little bit more about how music or just any of your creative endeavors has supported your healing process.
Oh my gosh, it's invaluable. It is so invaluable to me. Wow, music is really supported my healing process, I think, because not a lot of people, even, it doesn't matter if you're like a female or like a male, there's not a lot of places that are safe for you to be able to like express how you're feeling emotionally. It really isn't a lot, it's really limited. So art is like a good context of like that. If something like in life rubbed you the wrong way and you don't have the context to be able to be like, why did that like affect me the way it did? Like art and music is a good way to do that. So I just feel like art and music always gives me like the right closure I need. That is not in the context of like a person or like a savior or like it's all within, it's all internal. So it's like we all like, regardless, we need internal context in our life. And like all art is like point of reference and context. And sometimes that can like tell us things that we may not be able to tell ourselves sometimes. So I really am super blessed and super grateful that I can like, listen to a little Radiohead or MGK when I'm not feeling the greatest, or I can listen to, Nelly Furtado and Timbaland when I'm feeling like I'm in a good mood, or just be wanting to contemplate life and, maybe listen to like some Juice WRLD or like something that just like always has a mood for me. I always have mood context, and like that's like huge to be an artist, is like understanding how like your emotions affect you, but also how they affect the world. And sometimes, all of us, we all be feeling something in the world like that may not feel right to us. And we don't know how to like express that, or we don't be like really understanding the layer to it. But then a song comes on and then we like,
yes,
they not like us, right? So it's like, that's so invaluable to anybody's process. I would recommend anyone, if you got some childhood trauma, like maybe try and learn how to paint a landscape, or if you got, you like went through some like abusive thing or whatever, like listen to some music and try and maybe contextualize that with somebody else's pain. You'll feel a lot more relieved than like, waiting for like the context. Yes. It may never come, so music has helped me heal with that, and finding the right community of people for that too is like key. Music helped me like find the right network of people that like had the same aspirations that I wanted, had the same upbringing that I had the same values as I did, worked the same way that I did, and showed me like a different reality that I could like create for myself. So
that's so dope. So dope.
Healing, manifestation, all that stuff. Thank you, music.
Listen, and how I connect with music, you'll be proud.
Yes.
So I recently...
You love music.
I do love music, but I realized through lifing, and especially when I worked in corporate,
sure.
and just having my family, and I was just very much in the world of like being active and doing, like I, in a sense, like disconnected from my love of music.
I hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
And I wasn't really taking intentional time to connect with it like at all. And so more recently, and I love how you said mood concept, I think is the term that you use.
Mood context.
Oh,
right?
Mood context. Okay.
Concept and context, both are great.
Okay. So I recently started creating playlists based off of the mood that I'm in.
I love that.
And that has served me two ways. Number one, getting reacclimated to artists and that who I loved, past music that I love, but then also learning about all the new artists out there.
So good.
And
so much.
My friends, and so I'm letting you know too. So if you ever come across a song and I drop in your spirit, send it to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning a lot more with artists and different genres of music through music that people are just sending me. and I save it and I add it to playlists.
That's
and
awesome.
Just also reconnecting to like my teenage years,
For sure.
early 20s, like what I
100%.
used to listen to.
Like, wow.
Like I'm going way back.
That's
Like
good though. I think that that's like really important. Like, and I was just talking to somebody about this, like a friend of mine, like we were in downtown, like right after, or like shortly after I DJ'd a little bit. And I was talking to him about how, you know, I like DJ like thousands of concerts. And the craziest part to me is that like some people, you know, I put this in context to them. It's like, if you're like a RN and you just be chilling at the work spot and like you do overtime and you're really locked in, you might have only like one time you go out the month or two.
Yes.
So it's like, if you find somebody that you can discover good music from, that's extremely valuable to you.
Yes, it is.
So like they like need us. They like all the people that like don't get to be around music and art and design and creativity, like they need us a lot. I mean, and we need them. We really need them to like enjoy music because like, and so he just like, damn, I just never thought of it that way. Yeah. And I'm like, you got to think of that way. You got to be a service to people. And it starts with just like thinking of them.
Yes, that part. That I'm like, if whenever someone drops in my spirit and I encourage when I drop in their spirit, don't ignore that.
No,
like
for
follow
sure.
through with that.
I'm grateful for that because like this life and time is so short and it's so, I wish I could say that it's fleeting, but it's faster than fleeting.
Yes, it really is.
It really is faster than fleeting. Yes. Yeah. And so like anyone that like donates our time or effort or energy, like they deserve to be celebrated in that present moment as much as possible.
Yes.
You know, so we got to get back to that. And we are getting back to that. Like
we are.
For sure. Like
and you're also very gifted in the element of like keeping people in the present. Have you been told that before?
100%. Yeah. That's huge. Like,
because I remember like giving you a call, spontaneous call regarding today. And, you know, so my intention, I'm all like, oh, I want to make sure I touch base and run through all this. And you're like, how are you today? Like, and I'm like, true, people first. Like, and that was just I was simply in a very excited, like, ready to share the information.
It's like, we got to get this going and it's going to be awesome. But like, you know, we got to get on the same page. And I'm just like, hi, I forget it. And like, that's like, cause you know what? It's like, once I bought all my time back. I was like, damn, like.
Hold on. You got to drop in for the period. Don't worry about that.
I don't even care. I don't even care at all.
You said you bought your time back?
I bought all my time back.
Say more on that.
So I realized that, you know, I spent a lot of time like working jobs and like doing stuff the right way and, you know, doing all that. And I realized that, again, I was always stressed because my time had a ceiling. My money had a ceiling. Even if I had all the, like my whole day acclimated, I still wasn't making the right amount. I still was stressed. I still had other people had my situation in their hands. You know, it's a very scary world in the economy in the United States. And because I, you know, started lean in my business and I was conservative in my business early on, and I did all the hard stuff that like most people don't want to do. Like in creatives, they don't want to have an accountant. They don't want to do invoicing. They don't want to do email. They don't want to do calendar. They don't want to do reminders. I need all of that stuff to function, which is like crazy too, because when I called you, you were like, you're kind of like a go with the flow type person. And I'm actually not. I can't go with, I can go with the flow like in the studio.
Yes.
At the crib, like when like we have the time, but like as far as like anything else, like I can't always go with the flow.
And that was actually another question that I had. Like, how do you balance the need for structure and discipline with spontaneity that creativity often demands?
Yeah, you know, I love being spontaneous, but the funny part is in the beginning of my career, I was very spontaneous. Say yes to everything, figure it out later, see it as you go, flood whatever, and just work hard, super crazy hard. So after I got my 10,000 hours, I realized, wait, I don't have to work as hard to like make something in music. It doesn't take me like Dr. Dre made Explosive in 5 minutes. The guitar part in 5 minutes. He made 10 years worth of money in 5 minutes. So once I learned that, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. So that means once I get really good, that's done and finished. Like, not saying that my learning is finished, but once you have a foundation in like creating music or art or whatever, after that foundation's done, then you can focus on the business of it. And then the business charges your creativity, right? Instead of like hinders it. A lot of creatives, I think, are really scared of the business. They're very intimidated by the business. And the funny part is that the business is actually there to help you. The business is there to fuel your creativity. And like, I learned that really early on, at least in like my business. Like, I noticed that, I wasn't able to go out to everybody's shows and concerts in the first couple of years. But then I was able to go to any concert I wanted after me just staying focused and building the relationships and building a good body of work and like not needing to like skip any steps. Because that's like another part of business. You got to be a service to people, but that also means like, you got to, at the end of the day, I still run a business and I still have an obligation, and I still, like, aside from the creative work and the subjective stuff, like, I still have an obligation as a company to provide you with the service that you're paying me for. So I need to stay level of that. So when something subjective happens, I don't like react negatively to it. I just learn from it and move on. So, wow, that's like, so you got to buy your time back. Right now in America, we're having a radical shift in people and owning companies.
Yes.
Everyone knows because of how COVID was. COVID was like the start.
That was the igniter.
That was the igniter for sure. But then seeing how these companies are really laying off hundreds of people right now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking, like people that are like even beyond, like doing 26 years, like right about to retire. Like, that's crazy in America, and it is because they realize like, oh, like we do have AI, we do have these management systems, we do have this automated system, like we understand how much money we're making, but we gotta get back to the fact that like a dollar, may not give you something after this life. We gotta realize that. And we gotta also understand too that like the time you spend with your friends and your family in a place safe, fun, and okay, and good for you is sometimes more valuable than the time you spend in the office, even if you passionately love what you're doing.
Yes.
And that's hard to say. Like, I don't, it's hard for me to go on a podcast and say that, but that's the truth.
Yes.
Like, our families and like the good people we're around is more important than the dollar, and it's more important than like the notoriety, and if we can like really focus on that, we'll get all that stuff.
It will come.
It shall come. Build it and they will come.
That part. Yeah. And it's really quality over quantity too.
Promise.
In all aspects.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just with you being such an amazing creative, I have to ask, because I know so many people struggle with this, but what advice would you give someone who is dealing with self-doubt or fears that their creative ideas aren't good enough?
They will always, everyone started bad. Everybody started bad. Eminem's first demo was bad to people, right? Like, and it's crazy because like I actually have that demo. Like, I listened to that demo and I'm like, y'all are crazy. Jay-Z went to everybody, not to name drop Jay-Z, but whatever. Whatever. But it's a true story. He went to all the labels. They all said no. They all said no, and, it may take a long time for your ideas to amalgamate the right way. And I think that creative people need to also, again, enjoy that no, because once the yeses start coming in, the creative process has to change again. You don't get the same like haptic feedback that you get from a no. And it only takes one yes, right? So it's like, also again, Pharrell, he had years worth of no's before him and Clips came together. Like they had years worth of like, this is not the right sound. You know, Michael Jackson wanted a beat like Super Thug, and he gave him a beat like, he gave him Senorita by Justin Timberlake. He was rejected by Michael Jackson. So it's like if Pharrell, even at the top of his game, can be rejected by Michael Jackson, I think that like failure isn't always real, but enjoy it during the first 10,000. When you start failing up like under that or after that, that's where you're like, okay, we gotta like, that's where like the real pain is, I guess. But pain and suffering are different. We don't have to make a no or like a rejection be a painful process in the creativity. If anything, again, no always means next opportunity.
That part.
You know, and more you put yourself out there, the braver you are. The more people respect you when you put yourself out there. I respect somebody that puts himself out there and people reject them more than somebody that will cultivate a plan for years and years and years and years and never execute. You know, truly, even though it could be the most perfect plan, everybody involved, really visionary type thing, but it's about starting more than it is about
execution.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we at your podcast, you've executed on this, you've invested time into that, and you're really blessed. And like, I really appreciate you letting me come and talk to my story and us like just come together, like, cause you're trying. So you're already ahead of what, like you got, I still got homies that like inquired with me about a podcast like 3 years ago and like they're not going to do it. And I know they're not going to do it. So you're in a very good spot.
I appreciate that.
It's a very positive place. It's going to do really good things.
Thank you. Well, I feel like on that note, wow.
That was a good one. That was good.
You know,
like a closer, like it was like.
Yeah, I was like on that note, okay. Sure. And I'm doing what's also called some heart highlights. It's kind of similar to rapid fire, but I wasn't.
I like rapid fire. I'm cool. Heart highlights are kind of cool. That's kind of a sweeter name than rapid fire.
So, coffee or tea?
Tea, of course.
What's your favorite?
I love black tea, even though I can't drink it.
Because of the caffeine?
Because recently, like, I've just been like needing to get like excellent kidney health. Like
that's
excellent.
Real.
And the black, the black element that makes black tea is not always great for my kidneys, but like I used to drink a disgusting amount of it. So it's pretty wild. Antioxidants. You can't have too much antioxidants. Yeah. So
what's your alternative? Are you doing like green tea or?
I've just been drinking water with lemon. Water with lemon, 1.8 liters a day. I've been trying to just drink that every day.
Staying more
hydrated. It's been so great. Because I do a lot of cardio. I'm DJing, so like it's a lot of dancing. Yeah. So like I gotta stay like really hydrated.
Early bird or night owl?
I'm both. I'm honestly really both. But like lately, I've been an early bird because I definitely would say both. Because you know what's crazy is every night I get about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Every night. But that's good. But what's crazy is I can go to sleep at 2:30. I go to sleep at 2:30. I get 7 hours. It's 9:30.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm going to sleep late.
See, that's the flow I was talking about.
Yeah.
That part right
So
there.
then I don't have to choose between the two, right? It's like I would be like the creative person, like I'm supposed to be up grinding. But I'm like, but like I also really do believe that there is a real solitude in the morning. And there's a real solitude that you can't get to at night. There's a real collaborative effort at night. It's like if you want to really be with people together, you can be at night. But if you want to get your mind right, and you may want to soar somewhere different and you want to really commit to yourself, allow that commitment in the morning. Yeah. Pharrell doesn't even start work until 1 p.m. He gets up at 5 a.m., has like a 2-hour bath, chills with his children, exercises, reads a book, goes out for like a couple hours in town, and then goes to work.
Morning rituals are so potent and powerful.
I wish I would
that's a whole nother.
Wish I would have knew that. I wish I would have knew that earlier because I had a nightly ritual.
And that's important too.
For sure.
The wind down period.
Mine was like more like go to the studio every night. Like it was like ridiculous. But again, you're right. Like there's just power in the morning, and there's also a faster pace of being able to get stuff done in the morning.
That's beautiful.
It's a good one. That was a great one.
Sweet or savory?
Savory all day. I'm not a huge sweet person, but like I just had tiramisu for the first time like last week. Even though I love cheesecake. I love like Jolly Ranchers and like a whole bunch of stuff, but like I also love like savory though. I love like tangy foods, like not tangy foods, but like I'll eat a cheesesteak or like French fries or like something. That's just like what I'm into.
Yeah.
But both really good. Damn.
Savory is your jam.
For sure.
City life or countryside? Because you've experienced both.
I know. I really love countryside a lot. I really like the fact that you could just be in your own space.
Yeah.
You don't have to be bothered by literally nobody. Like that's really, really awesome. But recently I really love city life too. Like I love living very close downtown and being downtown.
Yeah.
You know, especially after being in Willoughby for like a long period of time. It's like very potent because I'm like, dang, I can really like go get everything over here. Yeah. So I would have to go with wow, that's a good one. City or country? Dang, I'm gonna have to go with country.
Okay.
Because that's just who I am. Like being a like suburban guy, but also like because I was in the country, I was connected to cities like LA and New York and Miami because I had the time and space. So
yeah, that's dope. Describe your style in one word.
Style in one word: authentic.
Beautiful.
Authentic.
And last but not least, finish the sentence. The way to my heart is.
The way to my heart is being honest and vulnerable while still being authentic to you. That's definitely the way to my heart.
And you displayed that beautifully here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for bringing me here.
Yes.
I had so much
true
fun.
Pleasure.
It's been great. Keep building. Keep having fun. Keep having a good intention. You know, only good things are going to happen. It only goes up. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you.
For sure.
And that's another episode of the Maven Podcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time.
For sure.